Yo there guys, this is Cobb and this is another Sunday's episode. First, I want to talk about how things are going in general, keep you guys updated. I also have some side projects planned that I think some of you guys will be interested in. And then we're going to get into the standard Q&A. Now, over the past fortnight, the channel has passed 45,000 subscribers and this is incredible. I really wish I could have had out some epic video to commemorate this milestone. Unfortunately though, I am behind schedule like a noob, so a juicy 45k project is going to take a little bit longer to come about. As for how the views are doing now, they have stabilized, they are not increasing, but the drop I talked about in the last Sunday's video has stopped, so I don't know guys, maybe there is some change that YouTube has pulled, with some of the uploads not appearing in subscribers' news feeds, and with the ongoing fiasco with the current comment section, I would not put such newsfeed bugs beyond YouTube at this point. But whatever the case, things are smoothing out, which is epic. Now that is really all for channel news, it's all good. And now for this side project I mentioned earlier, I was approached by a really cool guy who plays an arms warrior called Addons. And he wanted to know if I would be up for editing a video of his. It's an arena video mainly, and he basically sent me his clips, gave me a list of music he would like me to use, and let me go ham on his video. And I really want to show a preview of it here. This is just a rough draft, but I checked in with Addons and he said it would be cool if I was to show what I'm working on in this video, so here it is. Now, not to pat myself on the back too much, I am really happy with the way this video is coming together. I'm having a lot of fun editing it, and I can't wait to deliver the finished product to Mr. Addons himself. But this movie has got me thinking. I love editing montages. It doesn't matter what game it is or what class it is within that game. It is just a passion and one of the main reasons I love doing what I do here on YouTube. So I was thinking, why don't I do this more often? I could be having a lot of fun spending time working on projects for any of you guys. You know, I get to do what I love to do the most. You, at least hopefully, will get the video that you want with the music you want to upload it on Warcraft Movies and YouTube. Of course, there has to be a cost involved, but I promise you it would be a hell of a lot cheaper than what any other editors might ask for. I just need something to cover the time it takes to work on your project. Anyways, I don't want to harp on for too long about this, as the chances are you will not be interested, but if you are, send an email to the email address below in the description. I will respond and I'll give you as much information as I can, and I'm pretty excited just to see how much interest this actually gets. But yeah, that is all for news. Not a huge amount going on this past fortnight, but little to no news is not bad news, so let's get on to the questions for this Sunday. Shane Herring says, Cobb, I can't decide between a mage or a warlock, help me. Alright, the main difference between a mage and a warlock is that where a mage has high mobility with blazing speed and a lot of slows and roots, a warlock is more focused on being tanky. As a warlock you have strong self-heals, a shield wall and either Sack Pact, Dark Bargain or Soul Link, all of which are really good defensive cooldowns, whereas a mage on the other hand, past Temporal Shield, has only Ice Block and so relies a lot more on kiting around and keeping opponents where they want them with Novas. Now of course kiting on a warlock is important too. We're just speaking in very general terms here. Another big difference is the style in which damage is dealt. Mages in almost every spec have pretty low sustained damage but very high burst damage, and they can land that once or twice every minute. Warlocks on the other hand generally have higher sustained damage and less burst. Now Destruction spec goes against the grain a little bit here. It has some pretty devastating burst damage, but at the cost of it being very hard to land, compared to a Fire Mage's Instant Pyros or a Frost Mage's Shatter combos. So all in all, if you like high mobility and high burst damage, I'd say go for a Mage, but if you like the idea of being more tanky with better sustained damage, go for a Warlock. Of course, each spec is very different as a Warlock. If you're not so much a fan of the sustained damage part, the Burst of Destruction spec might also be for you. Philip Sem asks, what do you hope Destruction will be like in the next expansion? Greetings from Germany. I want Chaos Bolt to be reworked, and that is the number one thing I'd want changing as soon as you begin to sniff the edge of high-end arenas. Getting off a Chaos Bolt just becomes such a chore, it is not even worth attempting most of the time. I've said this 100 times. Frost Mage and Fire Mage burst is instant, Shadow Priest Devouring Plague is instant. All melee burst cooldowns obviously have no cast time. Ellie Shamans do have to cast, but their Lava Burst cast times are nothing compared to Chaos Bolts, and they get so many instant procs in between, it really doesn't matter if they get locked out every now and then. There was a system at the beginning of Mists of Pandaria before the beta even became an open beta, I think, and what Blizzard were going to do was give Soulfire a 4-second base cast time and make it hit like a truck. Early in the beta, Soulfire was for Destro and it basically was Chaos Bolt. It hit really hard. And Destro was given a passive buff, and it made every time your pet hit a target, you got a stacking buff that could stack up to 40 times, and every time the buff stacked, your Chaos Bolt or Soulfire cast time was reduced by 0.1, so if you got 40 stacks of this buff, you had an instant Chaos Bolt pretty much. With your pet constantly attacking, that would mean an instant Chaos Bolt once every 40 or 50 seconds. And what's wrong with that? That would be amazing. I would take that any day over relying on backdraft stacks and unending resolve for Aura Mastery just to get off one Chaos Bolt. So next expansion, I would like to see a rework of Chaos Bolt or just Destro Burst in general, something like what I just mentioned. Or maybe even make it like it was in Wrath of the Lich King. It deals good damage with short cast time, maybe it could penetrate shields, maybe Chaos Bolt could purge 1 or 2 buffs from its target. I don't know, just make it more usable. I just don't like being scared of trying to land my best in arenas. I should be pumped up and excited, not staring like a psychopath at my enemies' interrupts. Hussam Mia asks, what Warlock spell would you like to see make it back in the next expansion? Searing Pain is a spell that a lot of people I feel want back, so I'm not going to say that. I've already mentioned Old Chaos Bolt. Another beef I have that might get me some hate is Shadowburn. As much as I love Shadowburn right now, it is probably the most powerful execute in the game. It just doesn't feel right to me. I always think back to TBC and Wrath, where Old Shadowburn was basically like a powerful version of Fire Blast. It was just a good lump of instant damage with a mini cooldown, you know, that you could throw out while being trucked down by a melee, and I really miss that. I would also have us Destro Locks being more competitive with all of the instant damage spells that other casters are having fun with right now. So yeah, that's a spell I'd like to see reverted to the way it once was. Amir Volgrim says, Cobb, some dude on Arena Tournament is claiming to be Cobb, is that you? I mean, he really talks like you in chat, and I want to answer this message I got on Facebook here to clear this issue up. I play on the Realm Kazakh EU on retail, and sometimes, very rarely, I log onto the PTR on Brill EU under the name Cobrak with an accented O and an accented A. Anyone else claiming to be me, as flattering as it is I guess, is just pretending. I don't know why people do it, but they do sometimes, but now you know whether they are telling the truth or not. Right, now before I round off this video, gonna shout out the donations over the past fortnight. Alexander Lucenti donates €15, choosing not to leave a note behind, so I'm just gonna say thank you, man. It really means a lot. Nicholas Panette then waddles onto this donations list with a silent €50 donation, also not leaving a note, so again, I cannot thank you enough, man. That's a huge amount of money, and it really helps me out a lot. Alright guys, again, make sure to email me to the address below in the video description if you might be interested in making a PvP montage or movie, either right now or in the future. Thanks for tuning into this Sunday's episode. It means a lot if you're one of those bosses who watches until the very end, so thank you. I'm going to get back to work now, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm going to catch you all later.